that starts innocently enough, eases us through speculation, and slowly gathering menace, then picks up speed, fast. Near the end of this book, matters are hurtling along, an increasingly impressive tally of crimes is being committed before your eyes by lots of people, some of whom you know, and others who come as surprises. Boy, I'd hate to be a member of the City Watch in this town. And, well, I eventually had to surface just to breathe, looked at the slender handful of pages remaining, and wondered aloud just how Erin was going to bring it all home in the rapidly dwindling space she had left. She managed it, and I love the result. You will too, and I have only one regret. She introduced us to so many interesting characters of Waterdeep that I want to read a row of more books about each of them. Ed Greenwood, February 2010. Prologue. Over the surface of the dragon's scrying pool, the shiver of waves reflected a band of men and women in borrowed armor, the last handful of whom were trying to fight off an unusually well-equipped group of orcs. At least a score of the humans lay on the ground, their blood seeping into the early frost. Andaruan Arthix lashed his tail. He waved a claw over the water, and the image vanished. A waste, he thought. An utter waste. A ringing interrupted his thoughts, followed by the whistling roar of another dragon's voice.
"Your army has fallen,"
said Magalanareth, the clutchmate of Andaruan Arix's sire. Daerun growled a warning trill.
"I do not know what you mean,"
he sent back.
"Don't pretend to be stupid," Magalanareth said. "The claw test. Those humans were yours. Everyone suspects."
Daerun drummed his claws on the stone floor of his cave. It was a magnificent cave, even if it weren't decorated by the goodly amount of treasure he'd amassed at his young age. It would be a cave to marvel at. The walls were scalloped and sparkling with mosaics of crystals, their exposed edges polished with time. The ceiling was high and dramatic, a cathedral of earth spangled with stalactites. A worm twice Daerun's age would be lucky to have the cavern for a lair, he thought. Not that Magalanareth and the others would admit it.
"I know the move was yours,"
Magalanareth went on, and Daerun could picture the old green dragon sneering down at his own scrying glass, watching the orcs tear the last of the humans apart.
"No one else would be so forward."
"You see forwardness, I see an aggressive move."
"You forget yourself and play another game. Zorvintal is not for the rash."
"I was not rash,"
Daerun snapped. The silence that followed was full of his father's clutchmate's smugness.
"I was careful,"
he amended in calmer tones.
"The humans thought they were helping a village at the base of the mountains, who in turn thought they were avoiding the fate some travelers convinced them would fall upon them in a few 10 days. I was ready for Karshinavin's orcs."
Magalanareth snorted.
"Not nearly ready enough. Everyone knew you had sent your pieces out in rags to play as travelers. Do you wonder that no one staked any treasure on your winning? Everyone knew your move and knew you would fail."
But only Daerun had known Karshinavin had maneuvered through her minions to put a band of orcs into play. No one would mention that. They would only say what a clever move Karshinavin had made. Daerun would be forced to agree. He had grudgingly staked a casket of gold on the bronze dragon's success, but thrice that on his own. The orcs were a clever move, but he'd been hoping Karshinavin would pull back when she realized the orcs were going to attack humans. Knowing Karshinavin, she'd managed to find an extraordinary tribe of orcs who had a good reason to raid the village.
"It is not about winning every encounter,"
Daerun said. Magalanareth fell silent for a moment, and Daerun suspected he'd caught the old green off guard. He lashed his tail against the ledge of the scrying pool. They'd all assumed he was too young to be patient, too young to play the game. But with every loss, he was learning.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.